let's get started while she jumps on. Okay, guys? Listen, safe sport practices is very important for Volleyball Canada, and the OVA, Ontario Volleyball Association, is committed to practicing safe sport and ensuring our athletes are provided with a safe and healthy environment in which to learn and develop. Safe sport practices are the responsibility of all members, including coaches, parents, athletes, and even recruiters like myself. Coaches play a vital role, and like them, I want to make sure your best interest is in place as a role model so you have a safe path for success. Towards success, I should say. We are so honored to be here tonight with the Athletes Council, athletes, and sharing their voice and creating a better environment within the OVA for all our athletes. It started with a very small group of 23 members, in addition to co-chairs, Victoria, Altimer, and Oakland. Those of you that know Victoria, she was a monster of an athlete in her club days. And then when she went on and played beach, she really represented Canada firsthand. I absolutely loved it. In 2023, the council grew to over 34 members. And I'm sure even this year at 2025, Oakland, you can jump in at any time, has even grown and doubled in numbers. The mission of the council is to continue to support the OVA strategic objectives through an athlete's lens. I love that, putting athletes first. The Athlete Council so far has been participating in strategic planning, with sessions as a consultant, providing valuable insights to better align OVA's mission and values with the athletes' needs and aspirations. Community engagement is another big piece, and you'll hear a little bit about community engagement or branding a little bit later on within our presentation, but the council is engaged in discussions addressing concerns with athletes in the community. Policy feedback is another big involvement for them. Council members are actively provided feedback on current OVA policies, such as the tryout window, which I am sure the discussion around the tryout window is massive. Supporting OVA athletes, the council has identified key areas for support, recruitment for post-secondary participation, raising awareness, and empowering athletes. I love this. This council is incredible. Resources aimed at assisting OVA athletes, performance strategies to enhance the athletic performance, the mindset, developing a resilient and positive mindset, nutrition. Wow, we all know that's super important as a high performance athlete, and they're maintaining guidance of a healthy diet, injury prevention and recovery tips for avoiding injuries and promoting recovery, safe sport, promoting a safe and healthy environment, just as we discussed. Oakland and Chris, I've given you free reins. You are free to talk. If you have the ability to unmute your mic, you might be able to talk a
I
little
think
bit more
so.
in detail.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I'll make sure you
Okay,
have
perfect.
all these details after, guys. We'll send the recording out for sure at the end of the night, as well as a couple of these added hyperlinks, okay? Look at the size of the Athlete Council. I love it. Performance, mindset, recruiting. Yay. This is where we love to support the OVA athletes. We've been in partnership with the OVA. We must be going on to 4 years, Lexi. It's been amazing. And Volleyball Canada, we've been in partnership for 2 years already. So an excellent time for us. So let me get rid of this hyperlink and we'll go back. Looking ahead, the OVA Athlete Council is committed to continuing its efforts to provide resources in various formats, ensuring that OVA athletes have the support they need throughout their OVA journey. Council looking to continue addressing concerns, sharing ideas, and actively participating in the association's dialogue. Continue to be the voice for the OVA athletes and provide insight and input with respect to issues that impact athletes' health, safety, and performance. Amazing stuff. Any questions about getting involved, please don't hesitate to reach out to Oakland. Grab his email right now, but like I said, I'll make sure that I put I put his link and his address all in the email that we'll send out tomorrow. Okay? Perfect. Right on. Who's Six Pack Recruiting Sports? I just want to cover a couple of things first. If you notice, you can't use the chat group. This is part of our safe sport policy. We want to make sure that you guys are fully engaged and participating and feel comfortable participating and putting your questions in the Q&A box. So don't be afraid to enter Q&A at any time throughout the webinar and we'll take care of it, okay? Who's six-pack recruiting? I'm sure a lot of you have seen Lexi hanging around the tent. Lexi is the mastermind behind the tent, the banners, and all these amazing colors and the brochures. She is the first one to talk to all the athletes and develop that relationship, as well as support any six-pack athletes with their email correspondence and all that great stuff. Dale Melnick, yes, that's me. That's me right in the middle. I'm the founder and lead recruiter. We'll get in a little bit of my history in a few minutes, but this has definitely become a amazing passion project for me. Dallas is our little researcher. He is the one that collects all the data and does a little bit of marketing as well. And we have also added a former OVA athlete as a co-op student this summer. Alex Gadsden will be joining us and you'll see him around at provincials, which is super, super exciting. Who is Dale Millick? Oh my gosh, this is the strangest part because normally Lexi will talk about this. I'm super proud of my background, but it's always easier when somebody else talks about you other than yourself. So two-time SEC champion with the University of Georgia and two-time OUA champion with York University, played, man, I don't know, 10 plus years on the beach volleyball, Canadian beach volleyball tour, as well as had the opportunity to participate in several FIVB events. Super, super cool part of my life. I honestly can truly say if it wasn't for my playing experience in the US and across Canada, I'm not sure if six-pack recruiting would be in existence. So I really have to shout out to my former teammates and coaches for sure. I've coached over 20 years within youth sports in Volleyball Canada. So I started out at what was the University of Western Ontario at one point as the head coach, and slowly made my way to Guelph before ending up and retiring at Brock University as the head coach. Over 10 years of coaching with Team Ontario in the Region 3 program. And my gosh, more than 10 years with Volleyball Canada. This is such a funny shot. This is my glory shot, kissing the cup. Very exciting time of my coaching career. This is 2018, was the head coach for our youth national team that competed in NORCECA championships the first time in 20 years. Look at all these OVA athletes here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 former OVA athletes. Half of them played for Queens. The other played for UBC and McMaster, which is super exciting. But we were fortunate enough that we won a silver medal at NORCECA championships, which qualified us for our junior national team to compete at world championships. So I went from Honduras, the middle of Central America, all the way to Egypt, which was so super, super cool. I'm so humbled by the whole journey and the process. Retired after 2019, but then returned to our senior national team as their team lead for VNL and Pan Am Cup and World Championships. Again, lots of amazing opportunity and experience. Last year, I was fortunate enough to be asked to bring a team over to Shanghai, China to compete. So it was very cool to bring a team over. And here's a group of our athletes. I can tell you there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 athletes that competed in the OVA, which is super awesome. But we had the time of our life hanging around in Shanghai, learning about the culture, competing against Korea, the Shanghai national team, Thailand, Vietnam, France. Yeah, it was an absolute experience of a lifetime. So because of that, and all of my experience identifying and recruiting athletes, 2018 was a big year for me, and I decided that was the year we were going to start six-pack recruiting, and we have not looked back. We have helped over, oh my gosh, hundreds of athletes over the years in finding their dream school. Sometimes those dream schools are not what you start out to look at, and you end up at the Ideals program, and that's what we're here for. So we have supported both men's, the women's side, beach volleyball. We have signed athletes across Canada and all into the US, and all in total, we're well over the 20 million mark since this PowerPoint was completed. So well over $20 million in athletic scholarships have been awarded to six-pack recruiting athletes, which is super, super exciting, and we're extremely proud of. Where are kids committing? Like I said, from one end of Canada to the other, from UBC to Queens, from High Point University in North Carolina across to Texas, into Georgia, Duke University, Toronto Metropolitan, McGill, Niagara College, Holland College, St. Thomas University, Memorial University, University of Waterloo. We have had some athletes that have just committed to monster schools, Stanford, USC, Florida State. So super cool opportunity to work with both athletes and coaches in making sure we find the perfect fit for everyone. So this is my big question that I guess I get asked all the time. How do I even start? What do I do? Where do I go to, what's the first thing I need to do? Well, guess what? You have to email a coach. So here's the thing. Often what happens when you're the number one athlete on your team, you think you're the best and you're going to be found. Quite possibly it could happen, but I would say maybe 1%, less than that, coaches know who you are. North America is big. Canada is big. So the coaches in BC might not know who the athletes are in Ontario just yet. So make sure you create an email that is dynamic and attention grabbing. Okay? Think about it this way. Coaches receive about 75 to 100 emails a day. Okay? Recruiting emails a day. That's probably what the NCAA coaches are receiving, but Canadian coaches as well. They're probably 50 plus a day in emails. So what are you going to do to make sure that you stand out for those coaches? Okay? So always remember, you are a solid straight A student. You're a rock star on the court, but let's make sure that you present that in a way that the coaches open your email and they're engaged. Okay? You always want to invite coaches to watch you play. They don't know who you are. They want to develop a relationship. So give them all the information you can in your email. Your video, let me tell you, if you are not running video every single tournament, you have to go out and buy a camera. Okay? Coaches that can't come down. Lakehead University coach is not flying down every single weekend to watch. You need good quality video. That good quality video is not behind the lines person. Okay. We know in Ontario, we're really stuck in gym space. It's hard unless you're at the Haber Center. Most gyms and facilities don't have a lot of backcourt space. Okay. Try to be creative. Don't put your camera up high because then coaches can't see how high you're attacking the ball. Okay. I'm going to give you two pieces of advice with your video. One, have a camera centered at the back of the court. That's one. Two, if you're a left side or a right side, have a second camera on the line, not directly on the corner, but centered back behind the line. You're going to run into problems on the one side because of the lines person, so you'll only be able to do one side at a time. But coaches want to see how high you're attacking a ball around a block. Okay, so write that down. Center your camera at the back of the court and put the camera, if you're left side or an opposite or a right side, center a camera or directly line it at the end line, back obviously 10 feet back, so coaches can see how high you're attacking the ball on the block. Okay? You're going to get to know coaches really quickly at that point. Social media. I mean, you are not going to get recruited on social media alone, but you might. Make sure your social media for volleyball is only about volleyball. Okay? You don't want to put anything personal on there. You make sure your personal social media, your Instagram, your X or Twitter, that's private. Okay? Coaches have assistant coaches on staff to learn all they can about you. And they are going to check out your social media. And if they feel your social media is not appropriate, they won't recruit you. They don't want to impact anyone's brand. Okay. So make sure that your social media for volleyball is all about volleyball and working out. Okay. Where do you fit? What division should you play in? Last night's webinar, we got talking about the CCAA division and the power of CCAA. Okay. 10, 15, 20 years ago, students only wanted to go to university because they saw college as, oh, that's not very good. College is an excellent opportunity, one, to still get your Bachelor of Arts or Bachelor of Science. There are so many colleges across Canada that offer 4-year degrees, okay? Why wouldn't you go to a school that's smaller, still in a big city, that the classrooms are smaller, the professors know who you are, and you're not just a number, okay? Those of you that are online right now, the parents and even Oakland, I mean, I very clearly remember my very first year of psychology. There was over 500 students in that class, okay? So make sure you understand, one, what division and what does your college experience look like. Across Canada, you have CCAA and youth sport. In the US, we'll go in a little detail a little bit longer, but there's Division 1 all the way to Division 3, NAIA, and junior college. So there's over 3,000 possible opportunities for you to play and attend school, okay? Regardless whether you're staying in Canada or going to the US, you have to register with the eligibility centers. Coaches and administration want to know that you have not played professionally. How many schools have you played for? Did you graduate from high school? Okay, so make sure you pay attention to the eligibility center. Coaches, when they start recruiting you, will ask for that eligibility number. Have you taken care of academics? This is the biggest thing. Every single six-pack athlete that we work with, we insist and challenge them to get at least 82%. Okay. What an odd number, 82%. I don't want anyone to round down. Okay. So if you're 79.9, they're not rounding up to 80, they're rounding down to 79. So make sure 82%. Okay, guys. This will give you the opportunity to control scholarship awards. Okay. Academic scholarships are dictated by you. Okay. If you're over 80%, you will be awarded academic money from the institution that you have applied to. If accepted, they will let you know you've qualified for $1,000, $1,500, $2,000, $3,000, $4,500, depending on where you are between 80 and 100%. If you are over 93% academic average, oh my gosh, you are going to get a mountain of money from an institution. There are some institutions, because it is so competitive now, that will award not only the academic money to a student, but also give you Beats or an iPad or, I mean, some kind of headphones or maybe an Apple gift card. Okay. So schools as well, they are competing. So not only are coaches competing for athletes, but schools are competing for the academic students. Okay. So make sure, control the scholarships that you can. So coaches don't dictate how much academic money you receive. The institution does. What coaches do dictate is the athletic money. Okay. So athletic money could mean anything from up to $5,000 in Ontario. Outside of Ontario, it could be full tuition and fees. In the US, it could be a full 100% scholarship, or it could be a partial, depending on your division. Okay. In Canada, remember, just because coaches could award full tuition and fees doesn't necessarily mean they have it. Okay. So schools in Canada, they might have a really small budget of scholarships that their administration has provided them, but the rest is all done through fundraising. So don't assume because you're being recruited that you are going to earn an athletic scholarship. So like I said, control the academic piece and get that money. Okay. Eligibility requirements for NCAA. Let's talk about this first. Okay. You have to graduate from high school. How funny is that? But there are some athletes out there that might think, oh, I've been recruited, I'm done. You must graduate from high school. Okay. NCAA, anyone in grade 9 and 10, and you are considering NCAA right now, grades matter in grade 9. Okay. So I absolutely insist that you make an appointment with your guidance counselor and just say to guidance, I am considering to go to school in the US and play my sport. I have to take 16 core classes. Okay. Please, let's double check what I have already taken and what I need to finish to facilitate the rest of the core classes. Okay. The good thing is we're all Canadian online. We have to take English, math, science, and a social science in grade 9. We have to take English, math, science, and a social science in grade 10. Okay. Everyone takes a language. In grade 11, you still have to take the math and science and English. Okay. So there's a whole process that you have to follow in order to be academically eligible. You also have to have a minimum of 2.3 to compete in an NCAA school. That's not very much. That's 65%. Great, you're eligible to compete, but are you eligible to be admitted to that university? Okay, we'll talk about prerequisites and things like that a lot, but let's make sure we take care of our academics so we get admitted to our dream school. Your dream school might have a requirement of 3.0, which again is 80%. Okay, there are many schools that will weight academic and athletic money. Okay, so they'll pair them. So if you have a minimum of 3.0 and you qualify for academic funding, the coach then can top up your scholarship with athletic money. But if you don't reach that 3.0, even though you have the minimum of 2.3 to be academically eligible, you cannot be awarded money. Okay. Don't think your parents are going to be prepared to pay $100,000 for 1 year of school. Okay, so take care of your academics. SAT and ACT requirements, we can thank COVID for that being waived, but again, there are many schools that still require that exam to be written. Okay, a lot of those schools, even though they can't give academic or athletic money, they can give tuition waivers so you qualify for in-state tuition. Florida is huge with this. So if you score extremely high on your SAT, they can award in-state tuition. $10,000 is a lot better than 40,000 US dollars just for academics. Okay. NCAA eligibility registration, just like U Sports, you have to register to compete and to make sure that you are academically eligible and you haven't played any professional sports. Okay. It does cost to register for U Sport eligibility. It's $50. NCAA Eligibility Center is $100. It's the only time Canadians are treated as domestic athletes. As mentioned, what do those core courses look like for the core 16? 4 years of English, 3 years of math, 2 years of science, an extra year of English, math, or science. Most Canadian students take math and science all the way to grade 11 and then into grade 12. 2 years of social science, language, religion, philosophy, or social science to facilitate your final 4. Okay. Make sure you double check the religion classes that you have registered for in high school. They do fall under the parameter and are eligible for the core class. Okay, some of them are not. Okay, again, book an appointment with your guidance counselor. The last thing you want to do is get to grade 11 and you realize that you are not academically eligible. Okay, so I had an athlete that was awarded a full scholarship, 50% academic, or was verbally verbally committed to receive 50% academic, 50% athletic. Okay. She submitted her application. She realized the core classes in grade 9 and grade 10 were not good. She kind of bombed math and science. And because of that, she locked in her transcripts. She did not hit the minimum of 3.0, therefore, did not get the academic award. And so the athletic coach could not top up her offer. Okay. She ended up going to a junior college for 2 years, which was the best thing ever because she came out with a 4.0 and now is playing Division One in her sport, which is awesome. So again, take care of academics. Even if you are staying in Canada, start those good habits in grade 9. Okay. When you graduate or when you hit grade 12, and you have to apply to a Canadian university when UAC is open. It is the centralized database for applying to schools in Ontario. You have to submit your application when UAC is open. Okay, it's your top 6 academic credits that count towards a Canadian university. They might look at your grade 11 to give you early acceptance, especially if you take a grade 12 class in grade 11. Okay. I mean, this is probably one of the most powerful slides. I absolutely love to share this because it really does hit home. There are so many athletes out there that just, if they had another chance, they would do things differently. This athlete that did not qualify and fell under the 3.0 radar, she was regretting it for a full 6 months. She said, I should have really taken care of business in grade 9. Okay. Take care of your academics every year so you have options when you submit your application. Okay. The other thing for those Canadian schools, do not miss the deadline because schools like University of Toronto, Queen's, Waterloo, and most likely Western, when the application process closes, you cannot submit a late application. Okay. So do some work, do some research, see what schools you really like. If you're not engaging with those coaches, but those are your number 1 schools, still submit your application. Because heaven forbid, if the coach turns around and says, hey, Lexi, I really want to see you play for the women's volleyball team, but she didn't submit her application because coach didn't talk to her. At the end of the day, guys, academics is your priority. Okay. Pick the school because it's the right academic fit, not because it's the right volleyball fit. Heaven forbid if volleyball is no longer exists, cancel the program or you have a career-ending injury. You want to make sure you love the school that you're attending. Okay. So make sure you pay attention to all your academics along the way. Waiting too long, start early so you gain that exposure. Okay. There have been many athletes that have contacted me at the start of provincials. About 4 years ago, I'll never forget, I met with a mom. Actually, it's longer now. 5 years I met with a mom. And I told her, I said, listen, feel free and talk to other recruiting. This is what we do. We are like a boutique recruiter. You talk to me all the time, or you talk to Lexi all the time in order to keep moving forward with your recruiting process. The mom went away. I never heard from her again. That's fine. They chose to go with someone else. Fast forward a year later, it was week 1 of a month-long provincial championships at Rim Park. And mom called me and said, we hired someone else and we have nothing. She graduates in June. 18U provincials is the last weekend. Please help. And so I said to her, look, I know what you want to study. I know where those schools have, I know what schools have great, an excellent program for you. Let me get on the phone with the coaches, see what we can do. By the last weekend of provincials, we had coaches lined up at her court. She ended up signing to a dream school she didn't know anything about and has now graduated and is off working as a nurse. So just absolutely worked perfectly, but you don't want to do that. Okay. School is stressful enough. Running around to club, half of you guys play high school volleyball and then get in a car and drive to a club practice. A lot of you drive over an hour to get to that club practice. The last thing you want to do is add stress to your plate about leaving your recruiting to grade 12. Okay. It becomes more and more difficult. We know we have disrupted the process with a lot of things. So we understand that the Canadian coaches have to look a little bit earlier, and that's okay. It gives them time as well to really develop a relationship with you and build a profile on what the perfect athlete is for their program. Okay. Not responding to coaches or being unprofessional with all of those interactions is never good. I get emails all the time and text messages from university coaches that say, hey, I've messaged her and she's not responding. Okay. It's very important if you have decided to commit to the recruiting process, you commit to the process. Double check your email. If you have too much spam, like everybody signs up for all this free stuff, create an email address that's for volleyball only. And if you need help from your parents to check that email, absolutely do that. But make sure it comes from you only, all your responses, and it's in your voice. You don't want to wait longer than 24 hours to respond. Okay. Same with text messages. Coaches don't tend to text anyone. Athletes that I work with, all our coaches text them directly because they want to start talking to them early. Okay. Pay attention to your Instagram. You might get a message from a coach through Instagram or X. Okay. Let's make sure we keep it real. Okay. Don't be unrealistic about your school options. Have a clear understanding of the programs that you're targeting, and do you fit within that program? Okay. I'm a 5'8" left side. In my day, I was actually a middle, if you can believe it. I was a 5'8" middle. There is no way I was ever going to play a point of middle in college. And when I got to college, they moved me to left side right away. Okay. So know what that team roster looks like and where do you fit within that roster. Okay. Pay attention to your speed and agility. I get more comments and questions from athletes that are 6'1" middles. I want to change clubs because I'm not going to be a middle long term. Quite possibly true. Okay. Many times coaches will see an athlete and they'll recruit the athlete and put you in a new position once you get on campus. Okay. 6'1" middle, if you are fast and your lateral movement is speed and agility and athletic, chances are you might play middle. Okay. My daughter's been a starting middle, Division I middle for 4 years. She has tried to move right side every time. She gets moved back to middle because she's fast with the speed and agility in the hand press. Okay. So don't panic. Sometimes you will be recruited for your position, but when you get to university, chances are you will move. Okay. Also look at the middle. I would love to go to Wisconsin, but not everyone can play at Wisconsin. Okay. So know your lane and understand there are over, like I said, 3,000 possible opportunities for you to play your sport in university. NCAA has so many divisions. Division I, over 330 Division I schools. Within the Division I, you have the Ivy League. Okay. Not all schools are fully funded where they can give 12 full scholarships. It used to be a Division I school, or the myth, I shouldn't say it used to be. The myth is Division I schools have 12 full scholarships to give to 12 athletes, a head count sport. Okay. Not all schools are fully funded that way. Now, what they have changed the rules, and they'll all come in effect this April, they are giving, there's a cap of rosters of 18 athletes per roster, and they're given an X amount of dollars to spread the scholarship money across the full 18. So now it's becoming an equivalency sport. Okay. So all athletes could get about 75%. Maybe they'll get enough for an 18 full roster scholarship spots. Who knows? But now it can be divided amongst the entire team. That 18 roster cap, that includes redshirt athletes. Okay. Division II, again, well, before I jump too quick, Division I is a full-time job. You are a full-time athlete playing volleyball. Okay. They expect you to never miss practice, be on time, show up in the morning workout and the afternoon workout, plus don't miss class. Okay. Division two, a little bit of quality of life. They want the athletes to have more of a holistic opportunity, so balance of sport and academics. They don't play as long, so they're done the beginning of December, not the middle to later. Everyone's done before the 20th of December, but Division two championship is done a little bit sooner. Okay. They have 8 scholarships to give. Again, it's equivalency sport, so they are able to spread amongst the entire team. Division three is 100% academic. Remember how I said 80% or higher? Try to get the academic money from them. There are tons of Division three schools that they have a president's scholarship that they can award to a student athlete with extreme academic and leadership skills. Okay. Excellent academics. Absolutely. This is not a ranking of D1 the best, D3 the worst. This is all about school size and the academic presence. Okay. There are many, many schools in Division One that are the top academic schools in the world. So definitely check those out. NAIA and junior college, these are smaller classrooms. This is very much like CCAA. Smaller schools, smaller budgets, less taxing of a season for sure. NAIA, they're 4-year programs, but just a small school, and they have lots of money to give. And because the tuition is a lot cheaper, even if you get a 50% scholarship, you can still afford to go there. Okay. Junior college, some cool rule changes coming down the pipe in April that athletes that go to junior college first won't use a year of eligibility. Okay, so the whole goal of junior college is to get an athlete who's not quite ready to go to a Division I or Division II school, get them ready, and then send them off to D1 or D2. Okay, that's kind of a cool opportunity. They get to practice, they get to work on their study habits before they go to a bigger institutions. All these schools have a form of scholarship one way or another, so absolutely do your research. U Sports, Canada West, OUA, AUS, RSEQ. Again, between CCAA and U Sports, there are about 150 opportunities for you to compete. RSEQ, I want to be very clear, unless you're French speaking, you will not be able to participate in the schools and the academic system in Quebec. But for those of you that live in Ontario and are fully bilingual, they love to recruit athletes from Ontario to go play in CEGEP. Okay, so definitely check it out. As well as all of these schools, so between U Sports and CCAA, so U Sports are all 4-year programs where you have 5 years eligibility, right? So you can go and play and compete for 5 years and graduate with your honors degree. You have 5 years eligibility within the Canadian Collegiate Athletic Association as well. You and many, and I should really know the percentage, I wish I could come up with it, but there are a lot of CCAA schools, colleges that have 4-year Bachelor of Arts or 4-year Bachelor of Science degrees. Okay, it's just not a 2-year diploma anymore. So this is something, so you know how earlier I said, make sure you know your lane, know where you want to study, imagine your campus. What does it look like? Do you want to be a number in a 500 plus lecture hall for first year psych, or would you rather be in a lecture hall with maybe 50 to 75 students where the professor will know your name? Okay. Many of these CCAA schools, if it is a 2-year program that you're interested in, they're aligned with a U Sport program. So they're aligned with a Canadian university. So you then can transfer into your 3rd year and finish your Bachelor of Arts and Bachelor of Science. Okay. So many, many options across Canada for sure. Just like U Sports, there is academic or athletic opportunity available in funding as well, anywhere from $300 to $4,500 or full tuition and fees. Okay. Remember, let's go back to this. I want to be very clear. Just because a coach has the ability to award an athletic scholarship doesn't mean the coach has the money to do so. Okay. All Canadian schools, they may have a small budget that their administration will give them. Hey, we're going to give you 2 scholarships in your budget to distribute how you wish, but everything else has to be done through fundraising. Okay. So remember that just because you're recruited and you sign a letter of intent, which is a legal obligation, you've committed to the school has committed to you, it doesn't necessarily mean it'll come with money. Okay. Another big rule change that has been recent, it just finished its first year. It used to be, in order to be awarded an athletic scholarship, you had to have a minimum of 80%. Okay. Well, sometimes to get admitted to a university, you only need 65 because of the program. So they have changed the rules. If you get admitted to the university, you are eligible for athletic funding. Okay, so gone is the minimum 80%. However, you do have to maintain 70 to continue on with that athletic offer year over year. All scholarships are 1 year and they're all renewable. I don't know any coach that would not stay committed to their offer of a full scholarship your full 4 years. Okay. Social media, I've already mentioned that we absolutely want to make sure we stay on top of social media. Nothing is private till it's done. So everything can be screenshotted, recorded, shared, no problem. Snapchat is the worst culprit. How many people can screen record a Snapchat or have a phone ready to view it? You don't want any bad message sent. You want to keep everything professional. Look at it as a way that you're starting to market and promote yourself. So everything you're learning to market and promote yourself as a student athlete is going to carry on post-graduation. Okay. There are college admissions that absolutely do have someone looking to make sure that you are the quality student that they want at their institution. Okay. Create that identity, preserve your reputation, build a bright future for sure. I get asked all the time, Dale, what camp do I go to? Who do you recommend? Do you recommend this showcase? Do you recommend this? There's so much you could do, but make sure you spend your money wisely. Okay, the biggest thing you need to work on is strength and conditioning. And there's 3 people that I absolutely respect and enjoy. And trust me, I get nothing from this. Okay, but Iron Performance in St. Catharines, if you're in the St. Catharines, Grimsby, Hamilton, Niagara region, Iron Performance is phenomenal. RPG is Rory out of London. Again, excellent. These coaches know how to work with volleyball athletes. Reed's Workouts in Greater Toronto, another one. 3 tremendous strength and conditioning coaches that can help you. If you're that 6'1" middle that think they need to move, work on your speed and agility, tell them the position, they will work with you. You can do in person with all of these coaches or online, not a problem. Showcases are the big question. Where do you go? Who do you promote? I'm a huge fan of Kevin Horn with Volleyball Recruits. He does a great job in managing athletes, that there are not too many athletes on the court. When you go to these showcases, you want to be noticed and identified. Okay. So if you're on a court with 30 athletes, they're not going to see you. But Kevin Horn does a great job. He offers things 2 or 3 times a year. So just keep watch of that. If you're a beach player that's looking to really ramp up their beach this summer, this is the 2nd year in a row, Compete Academy with Tori Cowley and Josh Binstock. They have a tremendous program being offered. Not only do you learn how to be a great beach player from 2 national team and Olympians, they're going to teach you about mental performance, nutrition, the whole package, and strength and conditioning as a beach volleyball player. So the whole entire package is definitely someone you want to reach out to, Compete Academy. And lastly, Leslie is out of Ottawa, but Volleyball Positional Camp, if you ever get a tap on the shoulder from Leslie, you'll know her instantly. She played for our national team years ago, and she was a tremendous setter. She runs an excellent program with positional camps. She's got a couple in Humber this year, 1 in London, I think 1 in Ottawa. So just look up Volleyball Positional Camps. enter your name to get more information about that. And hopefully you'll be able to participate in something there. So with that, we are going to open the floor to any questions. If you put your questions in the Q&A box, I can see those pretty quickly. I think Lexi and Chris in Oakland, I'm not sure if they are online, but I can certainly manage the questions as well.
Gail,
If
can you
you
hear
want
us?
to book an appointment, feel free to scan the QR code and that'll go right to Lexi and she'll set up a call with you and talk about a little bit more personal. This is very generic right now, but a little bit more personal, how we can best support you with your recruiting. And I think, Oakland, you are online. I saw your mic unmute.
Yeah, I don't know if you can hear us or not. Chris is also online. Okay, perfect.
Yes.
Okay, nice. Um, First of all, thanks for, for the presentation and taking the time, both you and Lexi. Um, we'll give everybody who's online like a few minutes to kind of think of their questions. I'm sure they might have a few, but I want to take this chance to say thank you both. And
You're welcome.
also I want to say thank you to Chris as well. And, we'll make sure that Chris has a chance to kind of share his um, experience with the Athlete Council and the role. But thank you to Chris for taking the time to jump on and moderate this. I know we did it last year, Dale, the presentation, and it was great. We're getting feedback how it was useful to the athletes, which is also why we wanted to bring it back this year as part of the support that the council is putting out for the athletes. Um, that's awesome. Thank you.
And so you're more than welcome. I told you we would do this anytime for you. Absolutely. Now, the beginning, so you were online and I couldn't hear you, or everyone else could hear you, but I couldn't hear you. Were you trying
I
to talk?
I think so. I think Chris and I were trying to
Yeah.
um, just do a quick intro, but that's okay. I think you did a great job of entering the council. So
Did you like
um,
that? I
it
thought I
was
would just
awesome.
read it. I'm like, well, I
Yeah.
don't hear anybody speaking, so I better just go.
No, that's it's all good. I know that Chris might have um, a couple questions as well as as the rest
Mhm.
of the participants think of some. But Chris, if there's anything you want to,
Yeah, that was a great presentation. One question that I was kind of wondering was you had mentioned a bit about going to OCAA and CCAA,
Mhm.
but I was wondering what exactly the opportunities would be for athletes to attend possibly a university and also possibly play in OC or CCAA.
So I'm not So asking about athletes that play in university now and want to transfer?
No athletes that would they be able to attend a university while playing for a OCAA volleyball team?
See, oh my gosh, there's actually a couple of schools across the country, and I think it's becoming more and more prevalent. So Guelph Humber is probably the one that most will know. You actually go to the University of Guelph, but you play for Humber. Your classes are on Humber campus as well, but you graduate from the University of Guelph. So Guelph Humber is a great linkage program. The other school is St. Thomas University in New Brunswick, which is super cool that I actually had no idea until recently. You can actually take classes at St. Thomas. So St. Thomas University is a liberal arts school and University of New Brunswick is they share the same footprint. So and it's liberal arts and science, right? So it has everything. However, you might want that small campus feel or something in particular at STU is your academic interest. You have to take certain amount of classes at STU, but you could play for the University of New Brunswick. So it's definitely something that's becoming way more prevalent. I think you know what, Chris? I think student athletes are getting smart. It's a big, big commitment, right? To play for a college and a university. But many student athletes want a smaller feel and they don't want to be a number. And it's quite exciting when the professors know your name and, the students on campus know who you are as well. So there is certainly opportunities out there. Yes.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
One other question I had, I have a lot of friends that were girls that committed to D1 beach schools in the States.
Yes.
And I was a big beach player
Yes.
in my club years. And I was wondering if you could talk about any of the opportunities for boys to possibly get recruited for beach in the States, because I know that's kind of a growing field currently.
I know it is. There are plenty of opportunities, Chris, but the problem is there's no money. So this is why when we work with on the boys side, we've got quite a few young athletes, male athletes. We don't tend to talk about the US at all because there's not a lot of money for male athletes to play NCAA. So because they only get 6 or 7 scholarships a year to share amongst the entire team, it's very, very expensive. And the beach programs, although it is growing, again, well, I mean, I can go back to the 1980s. It's called Title IX. It this There had to be equal opportunity for men to be awarded scholarships and opportunity to compete in their sport, and equal opportunity for women. So because beach volleyball for men and men's volleyball is not a marquee sport, it's football and basketball and baseball, they will get the least amount of money per institution. And so because of that, beach volleyball and women's volleyball is a marquee sport, they get the money over the boys' side. So it becomes, although there's opportunity there, and if you want to pay 50 to 75,000 US dollars a year, you could definitely go. There are a couple of schools that are super affordable, and any athlete, male or female online, you can even qualify for OSAP to fund your US experience. And a lot of people don't realize that. Okay. So there's definitely an opportunity. You just have to find the schools with the most money. This is where I recommend those junior colleges and NAIA opportunities for the guys, because tuition is a lot cheaper for sure. There's a
Awesome.
lot of our athletes are in the US now for
Yep.
beach. Yeah.
I'm just seeing a question come here in the Q&A. Someone had asked, does it matter if athletes play on a higher ranked team? If you play on a middle to lower ranked club team, can athletes still successfully get recruited?
Yes. But remember I said that the facility, think about Rim Park, how big the facility is, and now there's an AM wave and a PM wave. So you have to make sure if there are coaches and universities that you're interested, they know how to find you. Okay. So a lot of coaches, they will start I understand Oakland, correct me if I'm wrong, it's now all Division 1 this year, right? There's no D1, D2, D3, D4.
No, there's still like divisions.
Oh, there
Yeah.
is still
Yeah.
divisions?
Yeah,
Okay.
Gail, we were talking about nationals. Nationals.
Oh, sorry. Okay,
Oh.
that's nationals. Okay. So
Between
so
divisions.
often coaches will hang out in Division 1 and Division 2, or the morning wave, right? But a lot of coaches will walk through the lower divisions because honestly, that's where they're going to find the diamonds in the rough. Okay. I can go back, I don't know, it's got to be 10 years now. It was the end of the day. I was on my way out and I thought I'm going to go watch whatever division was in the evening. Like the field house was almost empty. And I walked through the field house and identified an athlete. She was a 6'3" middle. She was I think they were ranked last because of geography. Okay. Because I cut through there, she ended up ultimately played for Western and our junior national team, and, graduated and moved on with her life. But you still can get recruited even though you play for those teams that might be in remote areas and a lower ranked team. Coaches aren't going to say it's a bad team, I'm not going there. They love to hear from athletes and they want to recruit quality athletes. Okay.
Gil, I had a question, if you don't mind me jumping in,
Sure.
related to beach a little bit. I think a lot of people tend to be familiar with kind of the indoor situation as far as, I'm a setter, and even though you had mentioned that people kind of move different positions,
Yes.
they know that I'm a setter. There might be, I don't know if it's like 12 or 14 or 15 on a roster. They get
Yeah.
dressed, whatever it might be. Any advice, recommendations, any kind of thing that you can create some clarity on as far as how some of these beach rosters tend to work in the States? Uh,
Yeah.
Maybe not specific to block defense, but
Yeah.
or like blocker defender, but
Yeah.
just overall, like any differences that might be between the two or things that, athletes might want to look at, consider.
Yes. Okay. So you know how I mentioned the indoor, they're capping their roster at 18.
Hmm.
Beach, don't ask me why, they're capping their roster at 19. Okay, which makes no sense because in beach it's twos,
Hmm.
right? You play in pairs. They chose 19 because the coaches wanted 20, administration wanted 18. They settled somewhere in the middle on 19. Okay. They as well are being given a lump sum of money to distribute amongst the entire team. So there could be possibility for more athletic funding for beach athletes. Okay. Team wise, the top five teams of two. So really, we'll say the top 10 athletes, right? The top five teams compete for their duels. Okay, they have to win their duels 3 out of 2. So South Florida is on the webpage right now. They play Florida State. South Florida has to win and 3 out of the 5 duels. Okay, so 5 duels compete. The sixth duel is your kind of backup. You're good, but you're not quite good to be competing for the point. However, that sixth duel still uses a year of eligibility. Okay. So they don't count towards winning the duel, but they will use a year of eligibility. So if you're not on the top 5, it's better for you to be team 7, right? Of the duels. So the other thing is, depending on your coaching staff, some coaches love the blocker defender duel, but a lot of athletes I work with, I say to them, look, train as a split blocker. Split blocking for a lot of coaches has become the thing. Okay. And from split blocking, you can either move to one or the other. That would be my only piece of advice. The other thing with beach volleyball, this is it's more difficult to be recruited as a beach athlete than it is for an indoor athlete, obviously, because there's not as much opportunity. It is growing, but
Hmm.
with the landscape of NCAA and the rules changing, I'm not sure how many more schools they'll add to the NCAA beach roster. Okay. The top 20 schools are phenomenal. But definitely there's opportunity out there. But if you are wanting to play beach, and I'm not sure how many people know Kalinda Koch. Kalinda Koch, we started working with her in grade 8 because she was laser focused that she wanted to go to UCLA. Okay. That was her dream. Once we started working together, USC became more, oh my gosh, this is right there. I love it. And look, she committed to USC in grade 10. Okay, June 15th of grade 10 was the exact date she committed. So, I don't want you to delay in your recruiting process with beach. We only get to play beach, Oakland 4 months out of the year, 5 if we're lucky, full time.
Yeah.
So we're having to compete to a population that's 10 times ours, right? So you have to compete against those athletes south of the border. So make sure you start early enough so you can get the opportunity and identified sooner. Okay.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I'm
I'm
sorry about
just
my voice. I've just been really sick, so I'm a little raspy.
Just seeing some more questions here in the chat. Somebody asked, what can you share about the fee schedule for six pack recruiting, and what are the top priorities a recruit can expect six pack to focus on? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll definitely send an email after with our fee structure and how that all works. That that's an interesting question. What can they expect you to focus on? The one of our parents, I'll never forget this. I will never ever forget this. This was when we were at provincials. I'm not sure if it was provincials or nationals that was hosted at downtown Toronto. Do you remember, Lexi? I guess it was provincials.
I think it
Yeah.
was both at some point.
Yeah, at some point we had lots going on there. And I had a parent that came up to me, and his daughter, who we worked with for a couple of years, signed with a monster school. And he kind of went like this over my head, and he goes, "This." And I'm like, what are you doing? Like, what's going on here? And he said, "This is what we hired you for." So the thing is, everybody can write an email, right? We want to make sure that athletes actually put the right stuff in that email to get noticed and identified and know actually how to communicate with coaches. So it's not just a web page. And he ultimately called us a boutique recruiter. So every athlete that we work with has direct access to me. And that sounds kind of corny, but at the end of the day, you don't want to have to research what you need to do. You actually want it put in simple terms really quickly and fast, directly to the athlete, directly to the parent. This is what you need to do next. So often we put the athletes in the driver's seat and we go, okay, let's go. Let's start with generic teachings. This is what generically we're going to do. But now we're going to turn it into more specialized, focused on what your intention is for the next level. So if it's beach volleyball, we sure are going to push you in all the right directions of what events to participate in. And not just that, but speak to the coaches on your behalf to advocate. My biggest, my, what I, how do I say this? What I love the most is when I actually get to meet with the coaches or the athletes one-on-one. So then I can turn around and say to coaches, oh my gosh, I've met with this athlete several times. This is what I can tell you about their character. This is what I can tell you about their athletic ability, because at provincial championships, we watch, or I watch every single athlete that we represent. So when those conversations start with the coaches, I can speak firsthand about what their court demeanor is like, what their level of play is like, and whether or not they're the right fit for South Florida beach volleyball, as an example.
Yeah, and I'm gonna jump in here. That dad that you talked about who did this with your head, Dale, he recently shared with me that his daughter sent emails to 84 schools initially. And I bet you had conversations with
Yeah.
probably about 90-95% of those coaches right off the bat about her. So yeah, crazy. That's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not need it, but it's a lot. Yes.
cool.
Just seeing another one here. Somebody had asked, what grade should you start reaching out to coaches?
It depends on where you want to play and what sport. So, as I've already alluded, if you want to play beach volleyball, let's get you started in grade 9. Okay, so with NCAA rules, the magic date is June 15th of your grade 10 year. That's when coaches can start interacting with you. The boys have a whole separate set of rules. They're like the wild, wild west. They can talk to you at any time. Okay, but on the women's side, there are strict rules. So we want to make sure that we develop relationships with these coaches and they know who you are before your first conversation sometime in June. Okay. So I always recommend start earlier, especially if it's NCAA, because that way we can talk about classes and make sure you're academically on track before you start an application process or before it's too late and you're in grade 11 and you have to repeat a grade 9 class. We don't want to do that. But most athletes tend to start in grade 10 at the latest, and those that are staying only in Canada, they'll start in grade 11. It's a great question.
Especially for the boys, they start in grade
Especially,
11. Yeah.
oh my gosh. Honestly, before we started working with boys, I'm not kidding, Chris. I don't know what club you play for, but usually what happened with the boys side up to about 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago, Lexi, they would start at provincials. They
18U.
wouldn't even really send an email to a coach. They would just start at provincials. It was really kind of funny to watch.
Yeah, I actually, so fun fact, I actually got an inquiry like last week from a kid who graduated last year, doing his second year of 18U and just starting now. And I was like, well, It's too late. It's too late, right?
It
So
makes it difficult.
it
It
makes
does.
it
It
very
comes with
difficult.
challenges. Yeah.
Yeah. So this next one here, does June 15th rule apply to Canadian schools as well?
No, it doesn't. That's only for NCAA schools. Coaches, they will see your email. You know, don't email them when you're in grade 9, grade 10, maybe. Hey, come check me out, coach. But grade 11, if you want to stay in Canada, is definitely the right time to start. I actually got an email yesterday just before the OVA session started from a parent whose daughter plays for Pac-Man. She's 12U. And I said, oh my gosh, go to spring prom, go play baseball, soccer, beach volleyball, tennis, go play other sports. Call me in 2 years. It was crazy. She was grade, not even grade 7, she would have been.
Mhm.
It's a little extreme. That's a little too early. And we just won't, we turn down more athletes than we accept, just so you know. So great questions, guys.
Awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, I think I don't see any other questions here. I don't know if we're looking to end it here or
Yeah.
if there's
So
anything else.
listen, guys, I really appreciate it. Oakland, we will come and talk anytime. Not a problem. We enjoy talking to the athlete council and we want to educate and make sure that everybody starts the recruiting the right way the first time. We absolutely will send out the recording and the contacts for those people that we refer. So anybody that's on this list right here. But yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure, and I look forward to see you guys all at provincials. Thank you so much for having us.
Sure.
Yeah,
Of
thank
course.
you.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Chris,
All
so much
right.
for moderating. Thanks, Dale. Thanks, Lexi.
Thank you.
Bye.
I'll talk to you later. Bye, guys.